Welcome back to LEXi 101, your jumpstart into using the TradeFormers trading robots for TradeStation. I'm Michael Horowitz. In the next few sessions, we're going to look at some of the exits that are built in to the TradeFormers set of strategy. LEXi, the long entry and exit interactive strategy, has some built-in exits or stops. We have a movable stop interactive, which is Stop LXi. We have an interactive trailing stop called Trail LXi. And for taking profit targets as an exit, we have Profit LXi. And we're going to take a look at all of these. So here we have a TradeStation chart. And on this chart, it's a 30-minute chart for BE Aerospace. And on this chart, we're showing opening range highs on a 30-minute and opening range lows on a 30-minute. And we have LEXi set up here to do an opening range breakout. And we have, for the first time, started to use the ATR length setting because we're going to be looking at stops and other entry points and exit points that are based on a percentage of the average true range. And let me spend a minute on the concept of average true range and why it's good to use for this. Okay. We have an analysis technique called the ATR Show Me, which displays the current ATR or average true range in whatever corner of the screen you choose. Now, if you were to look at our TradeFormers manual, under the ATR Show Me, there's a definition of what average true range is, but it's basically the 10-day average of the amount the stock moves from high to low, and the average true range takes into account the overnight risk and the average gap that occurs between closing out the previous day and opening the next day. For day trading, you might consider the true range instead of the average true range, but for swing trading, the average true range is better because the overnight risk is taken into account. We find that 10 days is a sufficient long average. When you use the ATR, it's important to have enough days back so that you can load up the average true range and you'll start trading 10 or a few days into the chart where you have enough days for the ATR. And with this simple setting, we see we have an entry here on the 6th of June. Now, this is a good entry because the stock continued to go up, but we want to look at different exits and their options. Well, the very first exit option we've seen before is the end of day exit. And if we turn the end of day exit and note that it's a 30-minute chart, so we need to get out the bar before the last bar to make sure we get out. So we set our exit interval to 30 for 30 minutes. And when we turn that on, we'll see a lot of trades because every trade is a day trade. And you'll see we break out, we get out end of the day, we lost money. We didn't break out here. We break out early, we get out, we lose money. We make a little money here, we lose money. We don't trade, we gain money. This is a fairly simple thing. And for a stock like this that we think is going to move up and continue to move up, we really want to swing trade. We don't want to day trade. So the end of day exit is not what we want to use. Well, the first thing you could look at is when we turn the end of day exit out is using a built-in exit for OR for LEXi. Now, LEXi has a number of stop modes. They're documented, but stop mode 1 uses the OR low for an exit. And when you turn stop mode on, when it enters the trade to begin with, it's going to set a stop at the low of the OR low at the time you entered. And as we squeeze this down, well, that's good. It gives us a good stop and we stay in the trade and we're still in the trade, but as our stock has moved up, our risk hasn't changed, and we still have a stop all the way down here. So what we need to do is consider ways to move the stop up or to take profit. Now, to take profit, we could insert into our chart window the Profit LXi strategy, and I'll format it. And the Profit LXi is very simple. You give it a number, you tell it what percentage of an ATR, and our ATR is 86 cents. That's 50%. So that's like a 44-cent target on this. And we're going to exit only 50% of the position and let the rest go. And when we put that in our chart, you see, all right, we have this golden line here, and as soon as we hit it, we take our profit target 1, and that takes a profit, but at least 50% to run. Well, that's okay, but it plays out pretty soon. What we really want here is a trailing stop. So what we're going to do is, instead of using the built-in LEXi stop, we're going to turn that one off. When we turn that off, since we didn't stop out, nothing about our strategy changes, except we're going to not see that line. We're now going to put in, just in passing, we're going to put in our basic stop LXi. And that stop LXi is much like the profit target we just put in. It's going to use the ATR, and by default it says set our stop a half an ATR, 44 cents from our entry, and exit the entire position. Well, we want this to be a full ATR from our entry. And you'll see that when we enter into this trade, we get our stop at whatever the ATR, about 44 cents from our entry. We get our target, we take our target, but our stop stays there. Now this is a movable stop, so as the days progress, we could move it up, and now the stop will be there, but that requires our manual intervention. So a better stop to use is our trailing stop, called Trail LSI. And I'm going to first turn off the fixed stop, and I'm going to insert into our chart the trailing stop. That's Trail LXi. And trailing stop has similar entries, and they're documented, but stay with the defaults. We're going to start the stop out at a half a ATR below our entry. We're going to trail it at that as the stock moves up. That's a chandelier exit. And we're going to just leave everything else in the defaults. And you'll see how this stop works. Alright, now we have a lot more action here. Although buy and hold may have been better, we see that we have, when we're in a position, our stop will trail up, and then we'll stop out and get in at a higher point. Notice here we were able to take profit, stop out, take a little loss, but then get in much lower. So that's one of the advantages. Now looking at this, we could change the trailing stop to, instead of starting at a half an ATR, give it some more, do a full ATR, which would be 100%. And now you'll see that we don't exit so quickly from our position. Here's a case where we stayed in, our stop trailed up, and we took it here. We got back in on a breakout, we took some profit, we stopped out. So you can get an idea here of how this trailing stop works, and how it adds, and how it's useful in a swing trade to track you as you go up, and can be used together with profit targets. On our next session, we'll look at our smart stops, which does a lot more.